Galactic dominance. The vast expanse of the Milky Way trembled under the iron grip of the Zarkoth Empire. For millennia, their name had been whispered in fear across 1,000 star systems, their very mention enough to quell rebellions and silence dissent. The Zarkoth were not merely conquerors, they were the architects of terror, the masters of subjugation. High Admiral Vexlor stood on the command deck of the Nemesis, the flagship of the Zarkoth armée. His 4 eyes, each a different shade of crimson, surveyed the holographic display of their latest conquest, the Centauri system. The native species, a race of peaceful agrarians, had surrendered without a fight. It was almost disappointing. High Admiral, his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Zarek, approached with a datapad. The assimilation of the Centauri is proceeding as planned. Their resources will bolster our fleet's capabilities by 7.3%. Vexlor's mandibles clicked in approval. Excellent. Any signs of resistance? None, sir. They seem to have accepted their fate. The High Admiral's exoskeleton rippled with a mixture of satisfaction and contempt. As all lesser species should. What of our next target? Zarek hesitated, an action that immediately caught Vexlor's attention. Speak, Sub-Commander. What troubles you? Sir, our long-range scouts have detected a new spacefaring race on the fringes of the Orion Arm. They call themselves humans. Vexlor's antenna twitched with interest. Humans? I've not heard of this species. Are they a threat? Unlikely, sir. They've only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. Their technology is primitive compared to ours. However, Zarek paused again. Out with it, Sub-Commander. I have no patience for hesitation. Our initial observations suggest they possess an unusual adaptability and resourcefulness. They've colonized worlds we deemed uninhabitable, and their rate of technological advancement is unprecedented. Vexlor chittered, a sound that might have been laughter in a less terrifying species. Adaptable, resourceful. Sub-Commander, have you forgotten who we are? We are the Zarkoth. We have crushed civilizations that spanned galaxies. These humans are nothing more than another species to be added to our collection. He turned back to the holographic display, manipulating it to show the sector where the humans had been detected. Still, this could prove interesting. Perhaps they will provide more sport than the Centauri. Prepare a scouting fleet. I want to see these humans for myself. As Zarek saluted and left to carry out his orders, Vexlor allowed himself a moment of reflection. In his centuries of service to the Empire, he had overseen the conquest of countless worlds and the subjugation of innumerable species. Each victory had been meticulously planned, executed with the cold efficiency that had made the Zarkoth the undisputed rulers of known space. But there was something about these humans that piqued his curiosity. Perhaps it was their rapid rise from planetary-bound creatures to star travelers. Or maybe it was the reports of their tenacity, their ability to thrive in environments that would kill lesser beings. Computer, Vexlor commanded, display all available data on the human species. The holographic display shifted, presenting a cascade of information. Images of human settlements on various worlds flickered before him. Deserts, ice planets, even the acidic swamps of Nox 9. Each environment seemed more hostile than the last, yet the humans had not just survived. They had flourished. Vexlor's eyes narrowed as he absorbed the information. These humans were not like the other races they had encountered. There was a fire in them, a drive that seemed at odds with their fragile physical form. Fascinating, he murmured. They lack natural defenses, yet they've spread across stars that have defeated far hardier species. Their weapons are primitive, but they innovate at an alarming rate. He zoomed in on an image of a human colony on a world the Zarkoth had long ago dismissed as worthless. The settlers had transformed the barren rock into a thriving outpost, complete with terraformed sections that bloomed with life. For the first time in centuries, Vexlor felt a flicker of something he had long thought extinct within himself. Doubt. Not fear, for the Zarkoth feared nothing, but a niggling sense that perhaps, just perhaps, These humans might prove to be more than mere prey. He quickly quashed the feeling. The Zarkov Empire had not come this far by underestimating its opponents. If these humans possessed some quality that set them apart, all the more reason to study them closely before crushing them beneath the might of the Empire. Sub-Commander Zarek, he called out. Zarek appeared almost instantly, as if he had been waiting just out of sight. Yes, High Admiral. I've reconsidered our approach. Instead of a scouting fleet, I want a full battle group prepared. We will observe these humans, yes, but we will do so from a position of overwhelming strength. If they prove to be as adaptable as our reports suggest, I want to be ready to strike hard and fast. Zarek's eyes widened slightly, the only indication of his surprise at the change in plans. As you command, High Admiral. Shall I inform the Emperor of our intentions? Vexilor considered for a moment. No, not yet. Let us gather more information first. If these humans truly are as interesting as they appear, I want to present the Emperor with a complete assessment, and perhaps a new jewel for his crown of conquered worlds. As Zarek hurried off to carry out his orders, Vexilor turned back to the holographic display. He zoomed in on an image of a human family, a male, a female, and a small child. They were smiling, their eyes filled with a warmth and hope that was alien to the Zarkov. Enjoy your peace while you can, humans, Vexilor said softly to the image. The Zarkov Empire is coming, and we will test the limits of your vaunted adaptability. In the end, you will kneel as all others have before you. The image flickered and faded, replaced once more by the strategic overview of Zarkov territories. But in Vexilor's mind, the image of the human family lingered, a silent challenge to the Empire's supremacy. As the Nemesis began its journey towards human space, Vexilor allowed himself a small thrill of anticipation. Whatever happened next, he had a feeling that the galaxy was about to change, and the Zarkov would be there to shape that change, as they always had been. Little did he know that this encounter with humanity would indeed reshape the galaxy, but not in the way the Zarkov Empire had envisioned. The stage was set for a conflict that would challenge everything the Zarkov thought they knew about dominance, power, and the indomitable spirit of a species fighting for its survival. First contact gone wrong. The Zarkov battle group emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, a menacing fleet of sleek, obsidian vessels that seemed to absorb the very starlight around them. High Admiral Vexilor stood at his usual post on the Nemesis, his 4 eyes fixed on the holographic display of the system. Curious, he mused, mandibles clicking softly. They've barely begun to colonize their own system, yet our long-range scans detected them light years away. Sub-Commander Zarek approached, datapad in hand. High Admiral, we've detected a small human outpost on the 4th planet. It appears to be a research station. Vexilor's exoskeleton rippled with anticipation. Excellent. We'll start there. Prepare a landing party. I want prisoners for interrogation. As the Zarkov ships moved deeper into the system, alarms blared across Earth and its colonies. On Mars, at the Ares Research Station, Dr. Elena Rodriguez rushed to the command center, her heart pounding. Status report, she demanded, eyes scanning the monitors. Her second-in-command, Dr. James Chen, looked up with a mix of awe and fear. Multiple unknown vessels just entered the system. They're unlike anything we've ever seen. Elena's mind raced. First contact. This was what humanity had been preparing for, hoping for, and dreading in equal measure. Send the first contact package. All channels, all frequencies. As the message of peace and greeting beamed out from Mars, the Zarkov ships continued their implacable advance. On the Nemesis, Vexilor observed the incoming transmission with amusement. How quaint. They seek to communicate. Zarek hesitated. Sir, perhaps we should. Silence, Vexilor hissed. We are not here to exchange pleasantries. Jam their communications and proceed with the attack. Back on Mars, panic set in as their signals were abruptly cut off. Alina grabbed a comm unit. "This is Dr. Rodriguez to all personnel. Evacuate immediately. Get to the emergency shelters. This is not a drill." As the station's alarms wailed, Alina caught sight of a small figure running down the corridor. Her heart stopped. It was Mia, her 5-year-old daughter, who had been in the station's small school section. "Mia." Alina cried out, rushing to scoop up her child. "We have to get to the shelters. Baby, hold on tight." The floor shuddered beneath them as the first Zarkov landing craft touched down outside the station. Alina ran, Mia clutched tightly to her chest, her mind a whirl of fear and determination. They were almost to the shelter when a section of wall exploded inward. Through the smoke and debris stepped a nightmarish figure, a Zarkov warrior, its exoskeleton gleaming, its 4 eyes glowing with an alien hunger. Alina backed away, shielding Mia with her body. "Please," she said, her voice trembling but strong. "We mean you no harm." The Zarkov warrior tilted its head, studying them with cold curiosity. It raised a weapon, pointing it directly at Alina and Mia. Time seemed to slow. Alina looked down at her daughter's face, saw the fear and confusion in those innocent eyes. In that moment, she made a decision. With all her strength, Alina shoved Mia towards the open shelter door. "Run, Mia, run." The child stumbled, then ran, disappearing into the shelter just as its doors began to close. Alina turned back to face the Zarkov warrior, standing tall despite her terror. "You want someone? Take me. Leave the others alone." The warrior's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. It fired. Inside the shelter, Mia screamed as she heard the weapon discharge. "Mommy," she cried, pounding her small fists against the sealed door. Dr. Chen pulled her away, his own eyes wet with tears. "I'm sorry, Mia. I'm so sorry." On the Nemesis, Vexlor watched the feeds from his warrior's helmet cameras. He saw the human female fall, saw the closed door that undoubtedly hid more prey. "Reach that door," he commanded. "I want prisoners." But before his warriors could comply, alarms blared across the Zarkov ships. Zarek rushed to Vexlor's side. "High Admiral, we're detecting multiple warp signatures. Large fleet incoming." Vexlor snarled in frustration. "Impossible. Our intelligence suggested they had no significant space force." Yet the impossible was happening. Across the system, spatial rifts tore open, disgorging a flood of human warships. They were smaller than the Zarkov vessels, less advanced in many ways, but they moved with a speed and coordination that took the invaders by surprise. All ships, battle formations. Vexlor roared, but it was too late for careful strategy. The human fleet fell upon them like a vengeful swarm. As battle was joined above Mars, in the shelter below, Mia's sobs had quieted to a soft whimper. Dr. Chen held her close, whispering soothing words he didn't believe. "It'll be okay, Mia. Your mom is a hero. And we're going to be okay." He looked up at the others in the shelter. Scientists, technicians, the few families that had been allowed on this frontier outpost. Their faces were masks of shock, grief, and slowly kindling rage. Chen stood, still holding Mia. "Listen to me, all of you. What happens next will define humanity's place in the galaxy. We've been attacked, yes. We've lost people we love." His voice broke, but he pushed on. "But we are not defeated. We will survive this, and we will remember." As if in answer to his words, the shelter shuddered. For a terrifying moment, they thought the Zarkov had breached their last defense. But then a familiar voice came over the comm system. "This is Admiral Patel of the Earth Defense Fleet. Ares Station, do you read? The enemy is in retreat. I repeat, the enemy is in retreat. Hold on, we're coming for you." A ragged cheer went up in the shelter. Chen closed his eyes, relief warring with grief. They had survived, yes, but at what cost? In orbit, the remnants of the Zarkov battle group fled, their formations shattered, their confidence broken. On the Nemesis, a bleeding Vexillor stared at the tactical display in disbelief. "How?" he rasped. "How did they defeat us?" Zarek, nursing his own wounds, had no answer. As the Nemesis limped towards the system's edge, preparing for a hyperspace jump, Vexillor's disbelief turned to cold fury. "This isn't over," he snarled. "We underestimated them once. It will not happen again. The full might of the Zarkoth Empire will descend upon these humans, and we will wipe them from existence." But as the Zarkoth ships vanished into hyperspace, they left behind a humanity forever changed. In the ashes of the Eris station, in the tears of an orphaned child, in the fierce determination of survivors and rescuers alike, a new fire was born. The galaxy had known the Zarkoth as its greatest terror, but they were about to learn that there was something far more terrifying than an unfeeling empire. A human race with nothing left to lose, driven by grief, rage, and an unshakable resolve to protect their own. The battle for Mars was over. The war for the galaxy's future had only just begun. Awakening the giant, the news of the attack on Mars spread across Earth and its colonies like wildfire. Grainy footage of the Zarkoth assault, captured by the station's security cameras, played on every screen. But it was the image of Dr. Elena Rodriguez, standing defiant before the alien invader to save her child, that became the rallying cry for humanity. In the halls of the United Earth Government in Geneva, emergency sessions ran day and night. Admiral Patel, fresh from the battle over Mars, stood before the assembled leaders, her uniform still bearing scorch marks from the fight. "Make no mistake," she said, her voice steady but filled with steel. "This was not a misunderstanding. This was not a tragic accident. This was an unprovoked attack on a civilian research station. The Zarkoth came to conquer, and they killed without hesitation." The room was silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Then, from the back, a voice spoke up. It was Dr. James Chen, still wearing the dust of Mars on his clothes, little Nia clinging to his hand. "They took everything from us," Chen said, his voice raw with emotion. "Our friends, our colleagues, Mia's mother, but they didn't take our spirit. We're still here, and we will not let Elena's sacrifice be in vain." As Chen spoke, Mia looked up at the assembled leaders, her young face a mixture of grief and determination that moved even the most hardened politicians. In that moment, the course of human history changed. The President of the United Earth Government stood, her face grim but resolute. "We've long debated the extent of our military expansion into space. That debate ends today. As of this moment, Earth is at war. Across the planet, and throughout the colonies, humanity mobilized with a speed and unity unprecedented in its history. Old rivalries were set aside, resources were pooled, and every aspect of human society was directed towards a single goal: survival. In orbital shipyards, new classes of warships took shape, incorporating lessons learned from the Battle of Mars. On the surface, massive defense installations grew, prepared to repel any future invasion. But perhaps most significantly, hidden research facilities worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of technologies glimpsed during the Zarkoth attack. 6 months after the Mars incident, Admiral Patel stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, humanity's first true battleship. Around her, a fleet of hundreds of vessels prepared for their first deep space patrol. "Admiral," her XO reported, "all ships report ready. We're picking up an incoming transmission from Earth." The main screen flickered to life, showing the face of the President. "Admiral Patel, you carry with you the hopes and determination of all humanity. Find these Zarkoth. Learn what you can, but most importantly, show them that humanity will not bow. Not now, not ever." Patel saluted crisply. "Understood, Madam President. We won't let you down." As the fleet prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Patel's thoughts turned to the true architect of this transformation. Not the politicians, not the generals, but a 5-year-old girl whose loss had galvanized a species. On Earth, in a secure facility, Mia sat before a bank of glowing screens. Her young mind, driven by grief and an innate brilliance, interfaced with advanced AI systems, helping to decipher the alien technology captured during the Mars attack. "I found something," she said softly, her small fingers dancing across the interface. Dr. Chen, never far from her side, leaned in to look. His eyes widened. This is incredible. "Mia, do you realize what you found?" The girl nodded solemnly. "It's how they talk to each other across the stars. And now we can listen in." Chen quickly relayed the information to the military command. Within hours, the Defiant and her fleet had the new protocols integrated into their systems. As they jumped to FTL, they carried with them the key to the Zarkov communications network. Far across the galaxy, High Admiral Vexlor stood before the Zarkov Emperor, his posture one of abject humiliation. "You promised me an easy conquest," the Emperor hissed, his massive form dwarfing Vexlor. "Instead, you return with a shattered fleet and tales of human warships appearing from nowhere." Vexlor kept his eyes lowered. "My Emperor, I underestimated them. It will not happen again. Give me a full armada, and I will wipe these humans from existence." The Emperor was silent for a long moment. Then, with a gesture, he summoned his war council. "You will have your armada, Vexlor. But know this, failure will not be tolerated a second time." As the Zarkov began to marshal their forces for a full-scale invasion, they remained unaware that their every communication was now being monitored by the very species they sought to destroy. In the void between stars, the human fleet moved silently, guided by the brilliance of a child born on Mars and the unbreakable will of a species that had looked extinction in the face and refused to blink. The Zarkov had awakened a giant. Now they would face the consequences of their actions. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity, when pushed to the brink, was capable of feats that would reshape the very foundations of interstellar civilization. As Admiral Paddle reviewed the latest intel from Mia's breakthrough, she allowed herself a small, grim smile. "You wanted a war," she murmured to the stars. "Well, now you've got one. And may whatever gods you believe in have mercy on you, because humanity sure as hell won't." The stage was set. The Zarkov armada gathered, confident in their superior numbers and technology. But humanity, fueled by righteous anger and armed with stolen knowledge, was preparing a welcome that would shake the Empire to its core. The true war was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The tables turn. The vastness of space erupted in a dazzling display of destructive energy as the Zarkov armada emerged from hyperspace, their sleek black ships blotting out the stars. High Admiral Vexlor stood at the command center of his flagship, mandibles clicking in anticipation. At last, he hissed, his 4 eyes gleaming with malice. "The human home system. Prepare for total annihilation." But as the Zarkov fleet moved deeper into the system, an eerie silence greeted them. No defensive platforms, no patrolling ships, nothing but the empty void and distant planets. Sub-Commander Zarek approached cautiously. "High Admiral, our scans detect no significant human presence. Could they have abandoned their home world?" Vexlor's exoskeleton rippled with unease. "Impossible. No species would." His words were cut short as alarms blared across the fleet. Suddenly, spatial rifts tore open around them, disgorging hundreds of human warships. They emerged from every direction, their formations perfect, their movements synchronized with impossible precision. On the bridge of the UES Defiant, Admiral Patel allowed herself a grim smile. "All ships, execute Operation Trojan Horse. Let's show these bastards what happens when you mess with humanity." The human fleet opened fire, their weapons a dazzling array of technologies, both familiar and alien. Beams of coherent light sliced through Zarkov shields as if they were paper. Swarms of self-replicating nanite missiles burrowed into enemy hulls, disabling systems from within. Vexilor roared in fury and disbelief. How? How do they have such weapons? Return fire. Crush them. But as the Zarkov ships tried to retaliate, they found their targeting systems scrambled, their communications jammed. In the chaos of battle, Vexilor failed to notice a small, stealthed vessel approaching his flagship. Aboard this ship, a strike team led by Dr. James Chen prepared for boarding action. At his side stood Mia, now 8 years old, her young face set with determination. "Remember the plan," Chen said softly. "We get in, we plant the device, we get out. Mia, are you sure you're ready for this?" The girl nodded, her hand clutching a small, pulsing orb of energy. "I'm ready, Uncle James. For Mom." As the strike team breached the Zarkov flagship, the battle outside reached a fever pitch. Human ships danced through the void, their movements unpredictable yet devastatingly effective. It was as if they could anticipate every Zarkov maneuver before it happened. In a secure facility on Earth, banks of quantum computers processed vast amounts of data. The AI systems, guided by Mia's unique insights, had cracked not just the Zarkov communication codes, but the very algorithms that governed their battle strategies. Every move the Zarkov made was countered before it was even executed. Every tactic they employed was met with a perfect defense. It was as if the humans were fighting with the knowledge of gods. Back on the Zarkov flagship, Chen and his team fought their way through alien corridors. Mia, protected in the center of their formation, whispered guidance based on the ship schematics she had memorized. "Left here," she said. "The central power core should be just ahead." As they rounded the corner, they came face to face with High Admiral Vexilor himself, flanked by his elite guard. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Vexilor's 4 eyes widened as they fell upon Mia. Recognition flashed across his alien features. This was the child from Mars, the one who had escaped. "You," he snarled, raising his weapon. But Mia was faster. With a quick motion, she activated the orb in her hand and flung it towards the power core. The device, a culmination of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered Zarkov tech, latched onto the core and began to pulse with energy. "Run," Chen shouted, scooping Mia into his arms as the team retreated. Vexilor, realizing too late what was happening, roared in fury. But his cry was cut short as the device activated, sending a cascading pulse of energy through the ship's systems. Across the Zarkov fleet, ship after ship suddenly went dark, their systems completely shut down by the pulse. The mighty armada, terror of 1,000 worlds, was reduced to floating, powerless hulks in the span of heartbeats. As Chen's team escaped back to their ship, Maya looked back at the dormant Zarkov vessels. "It worked," she whispered, a mix of awe and sadness in her voice. "Mom would be proud, wouldn't she?" Chen hugged her tightly. "More than you can imagine, Mia. More than you can imagine." On the Defiant, Admiral Patel watched as the last of the Zarkov ships went dark. "All ships, hold fire," she commanded. "Prepare boarding parties. It's time we had a chat with the so-called masters of the galaxy." As human ships moved to secure the disabled Zarkov fleet, news of the victory spread across Earth and its colonies. Cheers erupted in streets and habitation domes alike. Humanity had not just survived, they had triumphed. But in the quiet of her quarters, Maya sat alone, looking at an old photo of her mother. "We did it, Mom," she said softly. "We showed them. But I wish you were here to see it. The battle was won, but the war was not over." As humanity celebrated their victory, questions loomed. What would they do with their defeated foes? How would this change humanity's place in the galaxy? And what other threats might lurk in the cosmic darkness, waiting to challenge the newest power among the stars? The answers to these questions would shape the future of not just humanity, but of all sentient life in the Milky Way. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what this young, fierce, ingenious species would do next. A new galactic order. The Great Hall of the Zarkov Empire once a symbol of unassailable power, now stood as a testament to how quickly the tides of war could turn. High Admiral Vexlor, his exoskeleton dulled and cracked, knelt before the massive throne. But it was not the Zarkoth Emperor who looked down upon him. Admiral Patel, flanked by Dr. Chen and a somber Mia, stood tall, her eyes scanning the assembled Zarkoth leadership. The room bristled with tension, millennia of galactic dominance balanced on a knife's edge. "You stand defeated," Patel began, her voice carrying easily through the cavernous space. "Your fleets are disabled, your colonies are cut off, and your empire teeters on the brink of collapse. By all rights, we should destroy you utterly for what you've done." Murmurs rippled through the Zarkoth ranks, a mixture of fear and defiance. Vexlor's mandibles clicked in barely suppressed rage. "But," Patel continued, "that is not our way. Humanity has seen enough death, enough destruction. We did not fight this war to become conquerors. We fought to survive, to protect our own, and to ensure that no species would ever again suffer as we have." She paused, her gaze sweeping the room. "We offer you a choice. Surrender unconditionally, dismantle your war machine, and join us in building a new galactic community based on mutual respect and cooperation, or face complete isolation, cut off from the stars you once ruled, left to wither on your homeworld." The Zarkoth Emperor, his massive form somehow diminished in the face of defeat, leaned forward. "And why should we trust the words of a species we sought to exterminate? What guarantee do we have that this is not merely a prelude to our own destruction?" It was then that Maya stepped forward, her young face a mask of emotions far beyond her years. "Because we're better than that," she said, her voice small but unwavering. "Because my mom didn't die so we could become like you. She died protecting me, protecting all of us, so we could build something better." The hall fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Dr. Chen placed a supportive hand on Mia's shoulder as she continued. "I've seen your history, your culture, through the data we captured. You've ruled through fear for so long, you've forgotten there's any other way. But there is. We can show you, if you let us." Vexlor, unable to contain himself any longer, snarled, "You speak of peace, yet you brought war to our very throne world. You decimated our fleets, murdered our warriors." Patel's eyes flashed. "We did what we had to do to survive. You left us no choice. But now we're offering you one. This is your chance to be part of something greater than an empire built on fear and subjugation." As the Zarkoth leaders deliberated among themselves, tensions in the hall rose. Centuries of ingrained superiority warred with the stark reality of their defeat. Finally, the Emperor raised a clawed hand for silence. "We have ruled the stars for millennia," he began, his voice a low rumble. "We have crushed countless species beneath our heel, believing it our right, our destiny. And yet, in a mere fraction of that time, you humans have done what none before you could. You have humbled us." He paused, his alien features unreadable. Perhaps it is time for the galaxy to know a different way. We accept your terms, humans. Let it be known that on this day, the Zarkoth Empire came to an end, and a new era began." The pronouncement sent shockwaves through the hall, and soon across the entire galaxy. As news spread of the Zarkoth surrender and the formation of a new galactic council, other species long oppressed by the Empire began to emerge from hiding. In the months that followed, humanity found itself at the center of a rapidly changing cosmic landscape. Their technology, their strategies, and most importantly, their capacity for both fierce defense and unexpected mercy had turned them from galactic newcomers to a guiding force for a new interstellar community. Mia, hailed as a hero across human space and beyond, found herself increasingly drawn to diplomacy. Her unique perspective, a bridge between human ingenuity and alien understanding, proved invaluable in navigating the complex waters of interspecies relations. Years passed. The galaxy, once a place of terror and oppression under Zarkoth rule, blossomed into a diverse, cooperative community of species. Trade routes opened, cultural exchanges flourished, and scientific cooperation led to advancements that would have been impossible under the old regime. On the 10th anniversary of the Zarkov surrender, now celebrated across the galaxy as Unity Day, Admiral Patel, now serving as humanity's representative on the Galactic Council, stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, a massive space habitat at the former borders of human and Zarkov space. Beside her stood Mia, now a young woman and a rising star in interstellar diplomacy. They watched as ships of all shapes and sizes, representing dozens of species, docked at the station. "Your mother would be proud," Patel said softly. "Hell, all of humanity is proud. You've helped build something truly remarkable, Mia." Mia smiled, a tinge of sadness still visible in her eyes. I just wish she could see it. Sometimes I wonder, did we do the right thing? Offering peace to those who showed us none. Patel turned to face her fully. That's exactly why it was the right thing to do. We could have become conquerors, could have ruled through fear as the Zarkov did. Instead, we chose a harder path, but a better one. We've built a community, not an empire. As they spoke, a delegation of young Zarkov approached, led by none other than Vexilor's own granddaughter. The former High Admiral, stripped of his rank but allowed to live, had dedicated his remaining years to teaching the next generation about the costs of unchecked aggression and the value of cooperation. "Ambassador Mia," the young Zarkov said, her mandibles clicking in what had become recognized as a smile. "We've just received word. The terraforming of Mars is complete. The memorial to those lost in the first attack. It's ready." Mia felt a lump in her throat. "Thank you, Zalia. I will be there for the dedication." As the Zarkov delegation moved on, Maya turned back to the viewport. Out there, among the stars that had once held such terror, a new future was unfolding. A future born from tragedy, forged in the crucible of war, but ultimately shaped by the better angels of not just human nature, but the nature of all sentient beings who looked to the stars and dreamed of something greater than themselves. "Mom," Mia whispered, placing a hand on the cool glass. "We did it. We made it mean something. I hope you can see what we've built." As if in response, a brilliant star streaked across the void. A comet, perhaps, or maybe just a bit of space debris burning up. But to Mia, in that moment, it felt like a sign. A reminder that even in the darkest night, light finds a way to shine through. The galaxy had known terror. It had known war. But now, thanks to the indomitable spirit of humanity and the collective will of countless species yearning for something better, it would know peace. Not a perfect peace, for such a thing could never exist, but a peace worth striving for, worth protecting. And in the end, that made all the difference.